Joining us right now, the host of the Kudlow Report on CNBC and the Larry Kudlow Show on WMAL, which can be heard here Saturdays at 7 p.m. The one, the only Larry Kudlow. Larry, so we're going to ask you to imagine that you are walking into the House of Representatives, and we're not going to get the State of the Union. We're going to get the economic state
President Kudlow. How great
it has a nice
that
ring
be?
to it. It really is. So give us, Larry Kudlow, your vision of the economic state of the Union today.
Tepid. Tepid is the best word I can give. With the possible chance that the economy is picking up a little bit in the second half of 2013. But on the whole, the job situation is very unimpressive. The employment rate is only 58%. Participation rate is 62.8%. That shows you that even though unemployment has come down, and we have been creating jobs at, about 170, 180,000 a month, those other numbers suggest that for every job, every new job, somebody else drops out of the labor force. And so this makes it the worst jobs recovery since World War II. And frankly, in terms of economic growth, GDP, it's the worst economic recovery since 1947. So it's still a tepid economy. And, you can see it in the polling data. I mean, what did I see in a WABC poll? One of those polls, 2/3 of the participants think we're still in a recession.
Yeah, NBC News and Wall Street Journal show that 70% are very pessimistic. They think it's stagnant or they're worse off than when Obama took office. I mean, Larry Kudlow, you're usually pretty bullish and optimistic.
I don't think we're worse off, by the way, in all honesty. But I just think that this is such a compared to other recoveries, compared to the average of all the recoveries down through the years, compared to the Reagan recovery in which I worked, this thing just doesn't measure up. That's the problem.
So we found out yesterday that new home sales are down, much weaker than expected. You just mentioned the bleak jobs performance, and we've got more people in poverty. We've got more people using food stamps. How can the president say anything other than we're actually worse off? I mean, you don't think we're worse off, but a lot of ordinary Americans, they are worse off. They're either not working, or if they are working and they're lucky enough to have a job, it costs them almost twice as much to go to the doctor now.
Well, that's fair enough. I wouldn't pay too much attention to that housing number in the winter, but your other points are fair enough. And, from what I gather, from the buzz and talking to people down there, and I'm coming down there today. We're going to have our show from down there.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, we always do for State of the Union. It's a pretty exciting time. But, I think the president is going to try to whitewash the economy and just use the line, it's getting better. It's not good enough, but it's getting better. There may be some truth to that, but there may not be some truth to that. It's kind of up in the air. I think this whole business about inequality, which we all are expecting him to talk about, is simply not helpful. It just doesn't provide any economic growth stimulants. It doesn't provide any new incentives. It doesn't provide. It's kind of a whining thing. It's a whining thing, inequality. I mean, first of all, this is not a society like the old Soviet Union that promises that everybody's going to be equal. And by the way, the old Soviet Union was far, far from equal. My point is this. We need people to be prospering so that the rising tide lifts all boats. And listen, I'm going to give you two simple things that he should propose to work with the Republicans in the House. A, the Keystone Pipeline. That should be a layup because we need the pipeline. We need more refineries to refine this gas that's being fracked. It's light gas, rather. Our refineries are for heavy gas. That's a job creator. The energy revolution is the single best part of this economy. It has nothing to do with President Obama. It came from wildcatters and entrepreneurs who discovered fracking and how to do it commercially viable way. But do that. Help the energy thing. Don't tell me what the EPA is going to do to destroy the coal industry. Just help the energy thing. And second, for God's sakes, reform and reduce and even abolish the entire corporate income tax. Americans have the highest corporate tax in the world. Their money, their cash is stashed overseas, so they're not double taxed. We are not competitive. Every single businessman complains, including the Business Roundtable. You got a guy who is a moderate guy, Lawrence Kudlow from Boston University. He's not a Republican. He's not a Reagan supply sider like me. He puts out a piece in the New York Times last week that shows if you actually abolished the corporate tax, you would be helping wage earners first, because that's just a pass-through, right? Whatever money they make, whatever taxes they have to pay on it, they pass on the higher costs to consumers in the form of higher prices and to wage earners in the form of lower wages. Things like that are legitimately growth, where there is a consensus between economists of both political parties. Not go off on your own, not say to Congress, if you don't give me what I want, I'm going to do it anyway through executive decree. Nah. I mean, the guy's got to learn to work. He's got to learn to play with the other children and promote strong economic growth.
There is a bit of economic news that's out in the last few minutes. It says that U.S. durable good orders fall 4.3% in December, with weakness in business investment areas. What do you read into that?
I haven't seen the insides of those numbers, but I will say this. Business investment has been probably the weakest part of the whole so-called economic recovery, and that's bad. Businesses seem to be so uncertain about future events, future policies, future regulations. They don't want to commit to 5 to 7 year projects. And if you talk to somebody like, I've interviewed Alan Greenspan a couple times on this very point, he will tell you that is the most important job creator there is. Nothing is more important than that. And we're just not getting it. They just don't feel, in the midst of Obamacare, in the midst of talk about closing tax loopholes, where corporate tax reform, which Obama probably will mention, but he mentions it in an almost punitive way. He won't let you bring back money from overseas without huge penalties. So you listen to these business guys, both large and small, they don't know what to expect. And so if they don't know what to expect, they're not going to build.
All right.
If they don't build, they're not going to hire. I mean, this is the single weakest part of the economy. I don't know the inside what non-defense ex-aircraft did, which is the key number here. But this is a tough.
On its face, not a good bit of news. All right, Larry Kudlow.
We should help
Larry
businesses.
Kudlow, come into town. If you see him tooling around downtown in a Toyota Corolla, that's Larry Kudlow. Thank you, Larry.
All right, thanks, Larry. Appreciate it.